Hello, guys. We're live. I don't know why the stinger didn't come in. That's odd. It just did a cut transition instead of a stinger transition. All my work has not paid off. All right, well, we're live. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
It is not Bob Kamertz.
It's wrong, right? There, something like that.
It is not Bob. It's Timmy because Bob has a family emergency and he did not want to try to schedule us. It was a lot on his plate, so he didn't feel he could make it, and so we just got Timmy to come on. Who's
just got Timmy.
in the yeah, we just got this guy. So it'll be us two tonight, which probably means it'll be a much shorter show than two.
Yeah, because I'm not going to sit here and talk about the 7-step volcano plan, about what happened, and then why Merlin's Mayhem is the greatest coaster ever known to man.
We won't have all that. Yeah, we're going to be talking about the Disneyland expansion news here soon. That's on the rundown for tonight. Hey, Pam. Pam said hi.
Hi, Pam. I'm trying to get the chat open on my phone.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting show. Lucky enough, we got the live stream. I didn't know if we were going to be able to do the live stream or not tonight, but we're able to do it, which is great. Pam said the hello was only intended for you.
No, it's because I'm just Timmy. So
Oh.
she's saying hello to just Timmy.
I got you.
So we have no idea what we're going to talk about in the second half of the show.
Yeah, if you guys have any input on what you think the second half of the show should pertain to, any discussion would be great. Because we have the first half done, we do not have the second half done. Chris said we could talk about our personal thoughts about each land at Epic Universe, at Universal.
I'd have to look into.
Yeah, I know.
have to look it
we
up.
talked about this, but me and Bob, I know there's like the Kung Fu area, Kung Fu Panda area, and I think they're doing maybe a Mario area of that. We've talked about that on the show before. I don't know if the second half would be. I don't know if that'd be enough subject matter. We'd just be like,
I like this.
yeah.
Looks good. Looks neat.
But that is not a.
Not an awful idea.
We have to. We have to resort to that. I will do it. I will do it. Yeah, so we got Super Nintendo World as an area.
Let's do the
Seems to be
let's do the top reasons why you love Disney parks.
Yeah, why they're my favorite properties.
Yeah. He said, or what you want to see represented there at the new Universal Park.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we could do something along those lines if we have to. We'll be going to Universal.
Oh, the random coaster thing on RCDB, Pam said.
True, we could do that.
Yeah.
We might have to do that.
That's really fun.
That's easily the best thing that we do when we have nothing to do. We'll do that. I know Bob's gonna be sad that he's not here for that.
We'll have to.
And Chris, it's not that your ideas are it's just Epic Universe is something we've talked about, and it's kind of
a niche topic.
It
almost.
isn't. It's exactly. It has its own audience. Not everyone that listens to the podcast necessarily is a Universal or Disney. I kind of count those as two separate.
It's almost like a different enthusiast group.
Exactly.
Like you have
a separate just arena completely for a different group of people. So a lot of the same people that listen to this show aren't going to be like so intrigued by us talking about that. But we have, if you want to go back to past episodes, we've totally talked about that before. I know we talked about Epic Universe often. Whenever there's news about it, we bring it up. Yeah, we'll do the random roller coaster thing. And we actually have to do a poll as well for this week.
Perfect.
Great, right? We get to.
We seem unprepared, but we actually thought about this for a long time beforehand too.
Yeah, we sit. That's what happens is we sit. We really we need to either ask for audience ideas or ask around anybody really for ideas of what to do in the second half, because that's where we always fall short. We find all these great news stories, and we fall short second half because we don't really.
Because you're not creative.
Yeah, because we. Well, I mean, we think, oh, we could do a game show, but that takes planning, and we don't always have that availability. Then we think, oh, well, we could do, an interview, but I mean, who are we gonna interview?
Me.
Yeah, exactly. We could have you or Daniel on, and that's we have you guys on quite a bit. So I need to start reaching out when I go to parks and talking to executives of parks and stuff. Trying to hey, you're the park president. Can I interview you on my show? That way we have that.
Get Kevin.
Interaction. Yeah, something like that would be cool. Kevin, I know we haven't talked to, but I've been introduced to the King's Dominion park president. I haven't talked to her as a enthusiast, quote unquote, but I've met her, and I also we met Tony Johnson before, so
maybe we could get to
engineers would be cool. I've met Fred Grubb. I could somehow get in contact with him.
That would be crazy.
Yeah, stuff like that would be cool. So
maybe we could get Ed Hart in here. He seems like the kind of person to do that.
Maybe he would. Maybe he'd be cool and come on. That's the kind of stuff we would like to do in the second half.
But instead, here we are refreshing our CDB.
Refreshing a website for 30 minutes. All right, weekly poll. Any ideas on that? All right, so we're talking about this week the fact that North Carolina is allowing amusement parks to reopen at 100% capacity. Lake Compounce is doing a rebrand, and they've done some renovations, and we'll get into that. Talking about Clementine Park being bought by Gene Staples and the Indiana Beach Corporation. Aquatica is opening their new ride on a April 3rd blockout date. Disneyland proposed new expansions, and then Tato Park in Ireland is getting a Vekoma suspended coaster. That's the news. Do any of you have any thoughts on what we could talk about in the weekly poll pertaining to any of those news stories, or even if it's just random, just throw it out there? Best coaster wheels, or something. not that, please, but something along those lines. Great. I'm gonna look around as well. Bernie, Timmy is as well.
Yep, I am.
I believe Virginia parks are still at 30% capacity, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm going to probably talk about that when we talk about... I read an article that said that a while back, like a couple days ago. The good old days.
The good old days.
Before the dark days. Before the empire, I like saying.
I call it Tuesday.
Thank you, Cam. You come in clutch. Can always count on Cam. I'm thinking thinking.
I'm trying to think.
The wheels are turning, but nothing's generating from that motion. Like no, there's energy there, but it's just going into oblivion. It's not creating anything.
Kinetic energy is not turning into thought energy.
Mm-hmm. Bob is not here. Please don't refer to that while Bob's not here. Yeah, it's not easy. Sometimes it's easy being a creator and you're just like got something to do, got something to say, got something to talk about and discuss, and sometimes it's days like this where we are dry. Like last week it was so easy. We had an argument on the show and we're like, that's gonna be the weekly poll. We got it. And then this week
I'm here.
Nothing. Yeah. This week Timmy's here. We won't have an argument. Yeah, Even if I try to argue Timmy, he'll be like, okay, sure.
Yeah. Everyone has their own opinions. I respect your opinion. I value your view on this.
Oh man. Bob would be tearing my
He'd be livid.
He'd be like coming across grabbing my head, like slamming in the desk. So we are in the same room too, if it's confusing. I don't know if it's able, because my mic's a lot where I don't know if it's easily able to be seen.
Like literally.
But I am looking at him and he's looking at me. So that's why if I'm looking out over here, that's why I'm looking at Timmy here.
Yeah, the webcam that's pointed at me is literally like a foot above his.
I think Velocicoaster will be better than Pantheon. I don't think Pantheon's therefore going to be bad. I just think Velocicoaster holds more to it. There's more elements. It's longer. It's faster.
The theming. You can't forget about the theming on it.
Exactly. Yeah. That's something. If Pantheon had theming, you could make an argument there, but it doesn't look like it's going to. Pantheon's going to be great.
It's going to be a really good ride.
Yep. Me and Timmy both were talking about those trades earlier.
Yeah.
But before we get into that, let's not do that. So,
we'll save the NBA talk for the third half of the show.
Yeah, the third half of the show. Yeah. God, it's amazing how hard it is to think of something like this.
It's like a writer's block.
It is. That's what it is. And it's not fair. I'm trying to think of something, anything.
I can't think of anything.
This is bad. This is really bad, guys. Come on. You're our support here. We rely on you. This is your job. This is why we go live. I'm just kidding. Yeah, this is the stuff that I know a lot of podcasters when they go live, they're like right to it, right? Like Coaster Radio, for example, they're pretty good. But I like having this live interaction because it shows you guys the thought process behind it.
It's more intimate.
It's more, I don't know if it's more intimate. That's kind of
you see the raw side of us where we're sitting here thinking.
It's just more, you see the thought process behind the show. Yeah, you get to see that behind the scenes. That's somewhat cool to see in a sense. I know it can be annoying too because you're just like, get to it already. Been a tough time here thinking of a poll.
Chris said maybe your poll should be best new coaster for 2021. Have you done something like that already?
I think we did. I wish I could remember, but I think we did 2020 when there were all these rides just open in 2020.
I think I remember that.
We said what are the best ones.
That was when I watched the show.
You need to listen to it.
Yeah.
Whatever it's called. Ah la la, when the moon meets your eye like a big pizza pie. Oh man. Best coaster podcast, not called Coaster Talk Podcast. Oh. For example, when we talked about
Worst new coaster for 2021, Pam said.
No, that's not very good. I think Pantheon. No. No, boo.
Who said that? Someone said, what? Yeah, Emperor. I was thinking Icebreaker, maybe.
Yeah, maybe something like that along those lines. Come on.
Like a family coaster.
Yeah. I think he's just joking.
I completely forgot about Emperor completely.
You mean Mako?
Oh. Which Woody should be RMC'd. The 1 week Bob's not here.
I figured it was a joke. Yeah, Bob would not be happy with that poll. He'd come back next week and be like, "How dare you? How dare you? I should be back over on the other side of the ocean, going to school." He'd go Greta Thunberg on us. No. Stangle dive? Question mark. Is that the poll? Stangle dive? I don't know. Anticipated coaster in terms of 2021 rides or just like bucket list rides, kind of. I think we've done bucket list rides before, but I'm honestly up to doing it again because
It's been a while.
It's been a while if we have done it.
I think I was on the show a long time. Like it was like maybe over a year ago. The last time you did it.
It's not Bob now. If you're at the beginning, this is Timmy. He is filling in for Bob as Bob has family emergencies, and I don't have another. Yes, we're gonna actually talk. Did I not just read the rundown off cam? I said that. Timmy's filling in for Bob as Bob has family emergencies, and I don't have another rundown. I don't have another live stream screen. So this is what we got. So
just put a post note right there.
I could just put a blue, like the same color blue square and cover it up, but it would look kind of weird. And then write Timmy, but I don't know if that would look weird. So this is Timmy. Yep. Hello
there.
Yeah, I'm thinking so we have some more subject matter. We could just do bucket list rides. I think I actually made it a YouTube video. I'm gonna look. Pretty sure I did.
Wait, I'm on your YouTube channel right now.
A long time ago. I could just delete the YouTube video, to be honest. Yeah. Top bucket. Oh, I did it in the U.S. though. We could do Europe. Or non-continental U.S. Or not even just continental, just non-U.S.
You did parks, not even.
I did. No, I didn't. Did I? I'm pretty sure I did coasters.
Oh, at least on YouTube it says top bucket list parks in the U.S. James's top 10.
That is correct. I just scrolled down. Yep. All right. We could do coasters, bucket list coasters. Do you want to do bucket list coasters outside of the U.S. or in the U.S. or both?
Is this our?
Actually, it's not going to matter because it'll be next week's poll.
Exactly.
So that'll actually leave it for next week's James to decide. We'll just say bucket list coasters in the U.S. and then maybe we'll do Europe for the next weekly poll. That'll leave us for the next weekly poll, so we'll have that down. All right. So you see something that we weren't even doing. Spend that money. We're not even talking about it on the show. We're not going to be discussing or even not even mentioning it really, other than the brief little plug-in I'll do at the end of the show for it. It took us that much time to figure it out because, I mean, we got to do it because we will say like next week, be sure to answer the poll, but it's something that won't even be brought up at all, really, like in terms of our thoughts and opinions on it. All right. So my idea was most anticipated announced, but not just open coasters. So your idea was most anticipated announced coasters that haven't opened yet. Is that a correct assessment? either way, I'm gonna go with this, and then if that's what you mean, I could do that in the future poll too. That way we have 3. We have 3 shows down because we do this every week, hence the name of the weekly poll. All right, so maybe we'll think about that in the future for sure. All right, let's. Why are we so underwatched? I don't know. We're just so great.
And just tell your friends about it. That'll fix the problem.
Exactly. KosherTalkPodcast.com/shop. Represent the podcast at the parks. Get us,
I need to do that still, actually. I've been thinking about
fine.
that.
I'm just kidding. I mean, we get a consistent basis of listeners on the podcast itself. And the YouTube channel, I'm just not as consistent with it as the podcast, so I think people subscribe and then are like, he doesn't post that much.
Until you start going into Field of Scream yearly.
That was crazy. That was like 10,000 views. That was our most viewed video. All thanks to Timmy.
Yeah, that was all me.
That was all Timmy. All right, so we're going to start the show. I'm going to test it one more time. I guess if they can hear you, actually, that means that it's still good, going all right.
I hope so. I sure hope so, Jimmy.
That'd be great if the whole time they're like, we haven't heard Timmy say anything.
Jimmy, it's Timmy talking. I think I hear him in the background of your mic.
All right, we're going to test the audio real quick. I'm not even going to listen. I'm just going to make sure neither of us are peaking. Hi, I'm James Barber, and you're listening to Kosher Talk. This is episode number 114. I'm here with Timmy.
Wait, did we start yet? I'm just pulling a Bob.
You're Bob. I'm James. And it's a new episode. And we're going to be ragging on our good friend Timmy. That's what this discussion is. We're going to have a debate about Timmy.
And by Dave has very one-weighted. Very
one-weighted.
Good.
It looks good.
All right, good.
Timmy, you got a question in the live chat?
Oh, my God. Yeah. I'm looking at the rundown on my phone.
Hey, we're going to be possibly going to Hollywood Halloween Horror Nights. Excuse me.
I will be at Hollywood Nights.
We will be. Yeah, he'll be at Hollywood Nights, and me and Timmy, October 9th and 10th, I think we're planning on it because I took off work for Phoenix Fall Fun Fest, but I'd prefer Hollywood Horror Nights as much as I love Phoenix Fall Fun Fest, and I like doing that like an annual event. We just decided to not do that and going to Halloween Horror Nights instead.
Yeah, I literally just came up with that idea. We'll grab Busch Car and just walk.
I mean, we have. We've
been wanting
actually, our friend Pam, who's in the chat right now, actually has free tickets to.
Not free, but
not free tickets. Excuse me. Yeah, she got us discounted tickets to Universal that will be.
They're good until the end of the year.
Able to be utilized up until the end of the year. Therefore, during Halloween Horror Nights, we thought we'd go down and check it out since we'll have those tickets. Pam, are you saying me too? You won't be going, or me too? You're going to Hollywood Horror Nights with us? I mean,
yeah, you already didn't want a week.
You're
of
invited,
us.
but I thought you said it was too scary last time that I told you we were going. So.
I thought you didn't even want to deal with us for a week, or for a week, and
yeah, now you want to go back with us?
Yeah, back to Florida.
All right.
You think I'm bad now? Just wait until I get wasted on butterbeer.
Oh yeah, Bob will be there. Bob's planning on being there. He's being a little skeptical of Bobbish. That should just be a new adjective, Bobbish. He's being a little skeptical in terms of COVID. So,
no, she said she's just going.
Pam, you just misspelled Hollywood Nights, so you're now disqualified from attending the event. Good night.
Banned from chat.
I'll definitely be there. Timmy will definitely be there. Bob's probably like 99% sure he'll be there, but there's that one sliver of maybe not Bob going.
It's always that sliver of doubt.
Voyages is number one, as well as it's mine and Timmy's actually.
Mm-hmm.
But
and like everyone we know,
he's just really concerned with Hollywood Nights with the COVID stuff. All right, we're gonna start the show though.
There's a show we're supposed to do.
This is what we do every time. We're actually starting pretty early. Typically, me and Bob will start like 10.
I know. I see you guys finish sometimes at like midnight, 1 o'clock.
Midnight, 1 o'clock. Sometimes it's gone. Typically, it's only Cam's the only one left by then.
Yeah.
And he's like, "All right, guys, good night." And it's just me and Bob and him.
Yeah, sure, Pam. Spell check.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, let's get down to it. Okie dokie. All right, 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Coaster Talk Podcast. This is episode number 114 of the show. It's March 28th, 2021. I'm James Barber.
And I'm Timmy, not Bob.
Yes. As you can tell, Bob is not here. Well, actually, no, here he is. I'm just kidding. No, he's not here, and that is because of some family emergencies. You might have seen if you follow him on Twitter. He announced that he will not be on the show this week. And again, that's due to some family emergencies. So we have Timmy, of course, filling in as our temporary host. Like normal, that's what happens here when
I'm the substitute.
When Bob's slacking. Just kidding. But yes, we have Timmy here with us. Timmy, how you doing?
I'm
Thank
pretty
you
good.
for coming on.
It's pretty weird being in the same podcasting studio, I guess we'll call it, as you.
We did it with Bob a few weeks back. Me and Bob did it, and now we're doing it here with Timmy in my room, and it's working really well.
Feels like a more genuine conversation than just over Discord
and it
or whatever.
It feels more connected for sure. This is how real radio shows and podcasts typically go. You know, they don't do it via Zoom or via Teams or via Discord. They do it in person if you're close enough to them. And this is I like this. All right, so we're going to start off things talking about North Carolina because the state has now allowed outdoor venues to operate at 100% capacity, which is kind of shocking, not going to lie. I was not expecting that. I think Virginia just updated some of their rules and their regulations in terms of COVID protocols. And I don't think amusement parks were touched at all. I think, as far as I'm concerned, as far as I know, they're still at 30%.
I know that like amusement parks here in Virginia are kind of like in this weird category, or at least at the beginning of the pandemic, I can't remember now if they changed it to like some other category, but like all like entertainment venues at all were all considered the same thing, whether it be like a aquarium or like for even bowling alleys were in the same group as amusement parks.
I don't know if that's changed either. I just know that I read an article a few weeks back I think it might have been maybe about a week ago, where it was stating the updated Virginia rules, regulations, and it said that amusement parks are still at 30%. And I don't know if that article is correct or what, but that's what I read. Which is hard to believe because I know when I went to Busch Gardens I talked about it on the show a couple weeks ago,
it's pretty busy.
Packed. You were there, right?
Yeah.
All right. I couldn't remember. It was me, my cousin David.
I wasn't there with
and
David.
Alex, actually. No, you weren't there. You were that Saturday.
Oh, you were talking about the Sunday.
I'm talking about that Sunday we went back. I don't know if you actually know this. That Sunday we went back.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And it was slammed.
It was really busy.
Bad. Yeah, it was crazy. There's no way that was 30% capacity. It was awful. I don't know. So that's where I'm a little iffy on whether or not that article was 100% accurate, because 30%, that was far from that. But yes, 100% at all venues outdoors in North Carolina, which is interesting move. I don't even know if South Carolina is allowing that much, which is now, of course, re-sparking that conflict of whether or not Carowinds is governed by both states, or if it's North Carolina because it's in the North Carolina address. I feel like this comes up every time something with Carowinds happens that has to do with either North Carolina or South Carolina. This whole debacle arises where we're all like, well, is it North Carolina rules or is it South Carolina rules? And I feel like it always plays out how it plays out in the sense that North Carolina oversees the property because it's in a North Carolina address. But for some reason people forget that, and then the next time it happens again,
it's always the same jokes on Reddit.
The same jokes, the same, is it two different? I think it is North Carolina. So, as far as I'm aware, that's how it works. North Carolina is the governing body over this property, over this location. And so that means that the park can now open at 100% capacity if they choose. I don't know if they'll choose that. I don't know if that might seem a little provocative to a lot of people that are a little bit more sensitive about COVID. So they might lose business where they could potentially say, hey, we're opening at 75 or 50 and we're still limiting capacity. And then people might go, okay, sure, we'll still go. I don't know. I'm curious to see what they pull here. I mean, they're opening up at the same time I think most of the different parks are in like late May. So we'll see here probably pretty soon what they are doing.
Well, one thing about Carowinds, if you remember when we went, it was like the cleaning protocols were super
strict.
Yeah, like there was like, I think we couldn't even sit in the same like. We had to sit like we couldn't sit next to each other on a train on like.
We couldn't sit. We couldn't. Yeah, like so we were. There was 4 of us. 2 of us could sit next to each other, but our party could not sit in front or behind us. Even though we were in the same party, they could not sit behind or in front of us.
And we couldn't sit 4 in a row either, even though we're all in the same party.
On the 4 cross trains on Afterburn, we could not sit in the same rows. That was crazy. Yeah, it was.
And I remember
Copyright Strike though, you couldn't sit even if they were in the same party. A lot of parks are doing it how they'll group your party in like the same section of the ride, but they were actually making you just completely sit in a separate area of the ride, even if they were in the same party. It was strange.
I'm all for keeping people safe or whatever, but like they were cleaning off the height stick like every 3 minutes. Like it was a little excessive.
It was definitely pretty excessive and crazy. I that's why I'm wondering as well if they feel that's necessary for the clientele that comes in. Maybe they won't open up to 100% capacity. Maybe they think that the people coming want it to be a reduced capacity, want it to be these strict protocols in place, which again, that's not bad. I'm just saying that might be what they think works well for them in terms of marketing, in terms of relations. I don't know. We'll have to see how it pans out, how they open, how they operate, but they have the option now, the availability to open at 100% capacity, which again, is this the first state that's done that? Does Florida still have any restrictions? I don't think they do.
I don't know.
I know you still have to make reservations at some of the properties. I don't think universally you have to make reservations. But do
they have a capacity limitation?
If not, then they wouldn't care. North Carolina would not be the first state to allow it. But I think Florida might still have something down there, some sort of policy. This might very well be the first state to allow this type of activity, 100% capacity,
which is interesting because it's not something you would think of. Like North Carolina is not the first state you'd think of when it comes to.
You think it'd be like
Texas.
You think it'd be like Florida.
Yeah, Florida.
That would probably be the first one. You'd be like, oh, Florida did that. No shocker at all.
Something else that's kind of interesting to think about as you were talking. I thought about it's like we were talking about Carowinds and how strict all the policies were, and like how it was like we couldn't sit next to each other. I wonder when these parks are going to take away these COVID protections or whatever. It's like you can't sit like in the same when we can finally have full trains again. Like I wonder when that's going to be able to start. Like I wonder if it's just going to be like which is going to be the first park to be like, all right, we're taking away like everyone's going to be able to sit in the same train and like that's going to be a big move for a park whenever it is.
Yeah, I'm curious to see when we start to see the loosening up of restrictions in terms of course, that in respect to that in terms of separating out the seating, but also when do we start like what was it? One state actually revoked the mask mandate. That was Texas, but they didn't. The parks there still opted to continue to have the masks in place. But I think there was another state that might have done it as well. A couple of other states actually, I think, followed suit with Texas doing that. And I don't know if any of the parks there. Like I'm curious to see, like when we start to see. I don't think it'll be soon because we still have
I don't think it'll be
concern on our hands. But when do we start seeing mask mandates go? When do we start seeing seating go? I don't think it's time right now to do that necessarily.
No, but it's kind of an interesting thought.
But I don't think it's time. But that doesn't mean that these parks will therefore coincide with that thought, right? Because Holiday World for a long time was of the belief that masks were loose articles and shouldn't be worn on rides, and that sparked controversy even here on the show. So they obviously changed that policy pretty quickly, but I'm curious to see when the first park does make that decision, and they'll probably have to go back on it and go, whoopsie, because the people will be like, what the heck? What are you doing? But we'll see. I'm curious to see what park starts to. It could be multiple. It could be one. It could be a chain.
Yeah,
what park starts to loosen them up. A little bit. Yeah,
it's going to be interesting because like that first park is kind of going to start a domino effect. I'm assuming, where other parks like might start loosening slowly after time too. But I don't think we're anywhere near it right now.
I don't think we're near the time to do that now. But again, you never know with parks. Sometimes there's some weird decisions. Lake Compounce, talking about a really old theme park now, celebrating its 175th anniversary. It is the oldest continually operating amusement park in the U.S. And they just got a big renovation. And I don't know if it's completed as of now, but as of May 8th, their opening date, this will be completed as that is what's been announced thus far. They actually moved up the opening date too. It was supposed to be actually 3 weeks post the actual date that they chose, May 8th, and now they moved it 3 weeks up, which is great. So they're ready to get open. They're ready to make some revenue, get some people in the park, get some rides going. What's going on with the park though that's new is that they're adding a lot, and I've read into this, but it's very strangely worded, and I'm not 100% sure. So as far as I'm aware, they're redoing their entrance plaza a little bit. Like you enter through a tunnel almost. If anyone's been to Kennywood, you enter like under a road, and there's like a structure, a tunnel that you enter through because you're crossing under a road. Holiday World has something similar, and what's happening is that's being kind of modernized. They're adding some texts, adding some landscaping. They created a new logo as well for the park. And then when you actually enter the park, there's like a new entrance plaza as well, which looks cool. They have a new bathhouse, which I believe is in the water park section, which is themed after the Crocodile Club, which I actually read into them a little bit, and that's actually was a club that started at the park back in the early 1900s, I believe, maybe even might have been the late 1800s, by the actual owner of Lake Compounce, excuse me. He created this club, and it was like a political. It wasn't a political party necessarily, but they met up and they all discussed things pertaining to this area of Connecticut. So yeah, that's what's going on with Lake Compounce. They have a new area of the park, I believe, Main Street, and I think that's all new buildings, as far as I'm aware. If it's not, then they built new buildings. Or they renovated old buildings, excuse me. But if it's not, then they built new buildings, and it looks pretty great. You know, I'm not a huge fan of the new logo necessarily. I think it looks kind of strange, and I don't know. I don't like it too much, but I mean, it's there. It's modernized. It's definitely something. And I know Bob would probably have a take, and I actually kind of agree with this. This is a Palace Park, right? We know Palace is doing some weird moves, moving 4 rides from Kennywood, which again, even if there's a financial reason, I don't necessarily fault them for removing them for like the financial aspect, but I think it's just a poor business decision in terms of, you know, respecting your park goers and respecting your stakeholders in that aspect.
Well, especially just doing it over the off season, just out of the
doing
blue.
it out of the blue, and a ride that means so much to the community. That's just not cool, I don't think. But even if the financial decision was there and it needed to be made, I still fault them for that. Lake Compounce, this isn't bad, right? The rebranding and the rebuilding of some great structures and the livening up of the park. You know, they have new like vibrant colors and new landscaping. That is not in essence in itself bad. I'm worried that this is what Palace wants to do now, is just modernize, and almost stray away from what makes a lot of their parks unique, is the historical. I mean, this is a 175-year-old park. I 100% love this design and this new infrastructure, new buildings, new entrance. I love all that. I think it looks great. I'm not faulting them there. Please don't misconstrue this at all or misinterpret me. I think it looks great. I like the new look. It's just, I have a little bit of a concern. I'm kind of like, I'm cautiously optimistic, right? I'm going, this looks great, but hopefully they're not going to start removing old historical important things in return to modernize the park. You know, I just hope that's not the direction they're going. And hopefully this is let's revamp it, let's make it look good, but let's keep our historical nature intact.
One thing I like is like, I didn't even hear about this until about 5 minutes ago when I pulled it up in the rundown. So don't have much to say about it, but it is really cool that they're playing into their history with like the things like the Crocodile Club thing you mentioned.
Yep, yeah.
Like that's really neat. It's like there's like little hints that they might still be playing into their past, which is good. Yeah. Because like, 175 years old, there's a lot there you can do.
A lot of substance. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And again, what we talked about with Cognac Lake last week, with removing a lot of the old buildings, hopefully that's not what we see with this, and hopefully that's not what happened. As far as I'm aware, that's not what happened. As far as I'm aware, they just built this new Main Street area, and as long as they're doing that and they're adding new things and adding new experiences and not taking away in return older attractions to do so, I'm fine. I don't see anything wrong with that. Even if a couple of older buildings that aren't in use anymore, or older rides that people don't ride or really like anymore, that's fine. You know, I'm okay with that somewhat.
But don't take away our
But
kangaroo.
don't take away important rides. Don't take away rides that mean something. Don't take away buildings and structures that are historical. I mean, because you never know now. You know, people go, "Why?" Of course, they wouldn't do that, right? They wouldn't take away something that important. What are you talking about?
But we're seeing many parks. So many parks. I mean, like,
we say that with a lot of parks, but we also, I mean, think about Kennywood. Literally just removed. The mascot. Like their mascot is themed after the ride that they removed. So you can't say that Palace doesn't make these kind of decisions. So it's not kind of as preposterous as people might think. Me saying it right now, it sounds crazy. Of course, they're not going to remove important historical rides and structures, but we're seeing that. We're seeing it now. It's ongoing at Kennywood. I mean, I don't know if Kangaroo's been ripped out yet, but it's going to be here if it hasn't already, right?
Right, and then it's like, you know, like obviously that's a Palace Park, Kennywood, so it's like that's a more showing sign. But like even other parks in the industry, like, you know, it happened. I'll be the Bob. I have to mention my poor old boy Volcano got destroyed, and that was like literally like the face and icon of the park. And it's like, how could they remove that? Like that's literally the identity of King's Dominion when you think of it, at least for many people.
It's the iconic ride for the park. It's not necessarily going to be everyone's favorite ride at the park, but when you go back to it, the most asked about attraction at King's Dominion was Volcano. I swear, people still ask me, they still have that Volcano ride? No. You know, it used to be, yeah, of course they have it. Why would they remove that? But now it's like, no, they actually got rid of it. Yeah. And you're like, I don't know why, but they did.
We do know why.
We don't know why, but I don't know if it doesn't make sense to me still. It's a Cedar Fair move.
Bob will have to talk about it. He's out like...
We don't need it, yeah. I think Bob will come back on next week and he'll explain it all. He'll do his whole 4-point spiel there. We got like...
Yeah. Every time we talk to someone about it at a park, James and I have noticed there's like the same points.
Which is good. It's concise. It's like he has this whole little...
you got to make sure you hit every single point. It's not changing. It's the same story. It's
exactly.
Good.
Exactly. No one can ever go, well, you said this the last time. No, I didn't. I said the exact same 4 things I say every time. But yeah, so that's all I'm a little bit concerned about at all with this. Other than that, it looks fantastic. I think it's a great look for the park. I think
good it's getting updated. It's I mean, it's exciting to see what they're going to do in 25 years too for the 200th.
Yeah, you think about that. That's a huge deal.
That's a huge milestone.
That's easily the biggest. I mean, that'll be the biggest milestone anyone's ever celebrated at a park before, because it's the oldest continually operating amusement park in the U.S. So that'll be the first time we ever had a 200-year-old.
Don't tell that to Knott's Berry Farm. It's got a big sign over it. It says like America's oldest theme park.
Yeah, oldest theme park. Yeah, exactly. That's not amusement park. That's the catch. But yes, it looks great. I'm excited again. Only a little bit, teeny weeny bit nervous that this could be
the beginning of the end.
Yeah, the beginning of the end. All ominous now. Just the beginning of something we don't want to see out of the park, because this is, again, you got to remember, this is a Palace Park. You got to remember that always. All right, so continuing on the trend of really old amusement parks, an 114-year-old amusement park known as Clementine Park in Splash World, which we've talked about actually a couple of times on the show, actually pretty recently as well, because this has been in the news, has been bought for $2.37 million. And that seems a little bit more reasonable. I know we've talked about Conneaut Lake got bought for like 1.5, I think, maybe even less, and it's a bigger park, and that just doesn't make sense to me how that big of a park. I think it's close to 100-acre park got bought for that, and then this is like a 50-acre park, and it got bought for almost twice the price. This makes more sense to me in terms of price. I understand there's more that goes into the pricing of parks and everything, but still, it makes a lot more logical sense. And the buyer is someone who no one really expected. I think it was completely out of left field. I mean, people always joke about it because no one was expecting it with Indiana Beach either. Gene Staples and his company actually bought the park, Clementine Park in New Jersey. And again, people were joking about, oh, what if Gene Staples bought it? Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be awesome. Yeah, you should come on in. Come on, Gene, come on in and buy it. Like, and we were doing that with, I think, Lake Combats. We even cracked those jokes as well. That didn't happen. And now we're seemingly regretting that, because it seems like the guy that's owning Lake Compounds could be taken in a direction we don't want. We don't know yet necessarily, but with this park, I'm curious to see what happens with the move of Gene Staples, because I know a lot of people are commenting, and I've seen on multiple social media posts that this park's not in a great area. It doesn't draw in a lot of tourism, a lot of activity. So I'm curious to see what becomes of this park, if it's going to be what we've seen and just kind of sit there and operate but not really do anything substantial, have any new rides, anything like that, or if Gene is going to be like investing tons of money and pouring it in there and getting this park to be a destination. I'm curious to see what move he takes.
Well, it's like, when these parks go up for sale or whatever, it's always like there's two groups of people there are two people that people want to buy. It's either Gene or Dick Knoebel.
Yeah, Dick Knoebel. Yep. And that would have been cool as well. I would have totally been.
I would have loved
equally
that.
As happy.
I probably would have preferred Dick Knoebel a little bit more, but
Yeah. I mean,
I'm definitely not disappointed.
We don't know necessarily the direction Gene Staple takes his parks in yet, because he just bought Indiana Beach.
Right, we have no clue what's happening with that.
So
yet,
exactly, so we don't know yet. I mean, they made it one season, but we gotta wait and see what happens with the parks. But yeah, Knoebel's we know is steady and is well run. So
one thing that kind of surprises me is I look at that number 2.37 million, and it's like you compare that to a coaster. Like think about that, even like compared to like a Chant Hyper. Like how much is that? Like 6, 7, 8,000, something like that, or 8 million.
Yeah.
So it's like that's crazy. I think someone got an entire park for like a quarter the price of a Chant Hyper.
It is. I think the park was originally assessed back in 2019 as about 5 million, if I'm not mistaken. But because of tax appeal cuts, they actually ended up cutting the value in half, so to say. So I think it actually is worth more than what they bought it for, but because of all these appeals and just it's been run poorly, and it was auctioned off. It could have gone higher. I believe actually, who we talked about a couple of weeks ago on the show, I can't remember the name of it's Melvin Brown, and his company I can't remember the name of his actual company. He was going to purchase it for $3 million, so he was going to go up to $3 million. But one of the transactions that he was planning on coming in to help pay for this project, to help pay for this property, didn't go through. Somebody either pulled out or didn't go through right away, or something happened where his money was not where it was supposed to be, and so he couldn't buy the park like he planned on doing. So this would have gone for about $3 million actually, had it been. Had Melvin Brown had that opportunity to do so.
Oh, okay. So what you're saying is someone almost got a park for a tenth of the price of Fury.
Yeah. It's still.
It's just kind of mind blowing to me how some like small parks like this, if you win the lottery, maybe you could start up a small park like that.
You really could. Yeah. There's a lot more than just the $3 million you buy it for.
Right. There's a lot of
costs,
investment money you have to put into that as well. But
there's a lot. But still, you win. Depending on the lottery you win.
I know the Powerball right now is getting pretty big. People are talking about that. That's like 160 million or something.
You get a couple hundred million. You think about. The government's going to take about.
At least half of that.
Yeah. So, but either way, if you get a couple hundred million from the lottery somehow, I'd say you'd be set as well, as long as you're very, very concise and smart about the process, so to speak. You have a good shot at maintaining a good family-sized park, I think. I don't know why we're talking about hypothetical lottery wins here and buying a park, but I think it's possible if you win it and you're smart about it, for sure. But yes, this is an exciting opportunity for Gene and his company, because as we know, Indiana Beach has just been bought. Some people are still speculating that he might buy Fantasy Island. I don't know about that. We'll see. But he has now bought this property, which is it's good to see. It's good to see that he's trying to acquire properties like this and save them. Save these parks. So if we ever have this type of situation again, not to say we can count on him, but we can always hope, right? We can always go.
He's
he might buy it. We have a chance.
In the back of our mind.
Before when all these old parks were closed, we just go, dang it. Maybe Dick will buy it. Hopefully, now we actually have someone that we not again can count on necessarily, but it seems more realistic and more possible that we have someone to rely on when parks go under like this, which is great. Hopefully we don't see a lot of parks go under, but if we do, Gene is always there, hopefully. My boy Gene.
Yeah.
All right, well, exciting news out of Aquatica, not really because of what's happening at the park itself, but because it actually leads us to another possible outcome. So SeaWorld Orlando's water park Aquatica is opening up a slide complex called a Riptide Race. And it's the world's tallest dueling racing slide. And that's opening up on a blockout date, which is slotted for April 3rd right now. And why is that important? It's not really.
It's not
but,
at all.
But there is a blockout date now for April 12th for Busch Gardens Tampa Bay. And people are thinking that might indicate Iron Gwazi will open then. Now, please don't take this as me saying that.
Don't book your trips out to
I'm not confirming
Tampa
it.
just
I'm not
yet.
saying that. I'm just saying that's the rumor right now, right? Just talking about rumors. There's also a blockout date for April 3rd for SeaWorld Orlando itself, and that is what people are thinking will be the opening date of Icebreaker. Now, if Velocicoaster if Iron Gwazi opens April 12th, I'm going to be very upset because we're actually going to be down there through the 10th, and that'll be like literally 2 days past when we're going to be there, and I will have to be missing school on that Monday.
Because we are not taking that flight back if that's what happens.
Yeah. Oh, man, that would really suck. I don't necessarily think that's happening. If it did happen, I think it would be kind of an unusual...
Mm-hmm. You think they would kind of announce it a little bit beforehand, even if they don't want to draw
the crowd.
You think they build
up some
You want to build up some hype, but you don't want to build up enough hype to where the park's flooded. And
you want to build up, something, because there's nothing right now. It's just like, oh, it's testing again.
Yeah.
Oh, it's testing again. Oh, it's testing again.
Well, I also heard people say they usually give annual pass holders like a 2-week notice or whatever.
Yes, they do. Yep, they typically do, and that has not been sent out yet. So people are still thinking. But again, this is a weird year, stuff we've never seen before. So it very well could happen. I'm just don't bet on it. Don't use us as a source for this. Don't.
Yeah, but with our luck, it's probably going to be what happens.
Yeah. I know Bob's probably listening to this and rolling in his grave right now because he's probably like, what is this dumb rumor? Why is this on my show? But, I thought it was an interesting take. And, I mean, again, this conclusion isn't just coming from, they have a blackout date. It equals the coaster opening.
It's based off
It's a SeaWorld trend. The SeaWorld property, Aquatica, is opening their ride on a blackout date. So that means that it's possible that Busch Gardens Tampa would do that as well.
Now we need to look for blockout dates and Busch Gardens Williamsburg's calendar and see if we can find anything.
Through Pantheon. Even more of a confusing and perplexing announcement comes from Disneyland. And this is actually Timmy's
expertise.
OG home park, right?
Yeah.
This is where it all began.
I'm a resident expert here at Coaster Talk. I'm the resident expert. When you need someone to talk about Disneyland, I'm here.
Now going to our affiliate in Disneyland. Timmy, what's going on? They're investing. What they're saying is Disney wants to invest in the Anaheim area, and they're saying it's not a possibility right now, which I'm assuming means what they want is Anaheim to allow them to do pretty much whatever they want because
they need the money.
Because right now the public officials understand how important Disneyland is to the local economy, and if they deny them something like this big project, the locals are going to be going crazy. They're going, what the heck? Why aren't we having Disneyland invest in our local economy and build this huge possible park
expansion?
That they're talking about here. So what they're talking about here pretty much is a third park, some quote unquote.
Kind of, yeah.
It's just not separately gated. It's not separately ticketed as we're aware. I don't know really how
it's kind of confusing. One thing Disney needs to do is update the Disney Forward website, because that's the name of this project. I think is Disney Forward or something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
And it was very confusing online looking at it. James and I read through it like 2 or 3 times, looked at the picture, and couldn't figure it out really. But it's like there's some parts like it's supposed to combine California Adventure and Disneyland in the back of those parks. It's supposed to be like a park in the back of those, I think it looked like, and where you can walk in from there.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting because
they're separately ticketed.
Yeah. Parks. So it's like, are they just going to make the Disneyland Resort one big park, or is that going to be like a separate admission after all those parks? Are you going to get like a park hopper to get into that? Yeah. Or like, because right now it's like there's some ways to get into the parks, like they have the monorail system. There's like actually have ways to get in through like downtown Disney straight into the park if you like go through security or whatever. And just by scanning your ticket up there or whatever, and they might be able to do that with this new park, but it's not like they're only going to rely on this monorail system to get people into this park. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. And also, I can't imagine all the walking you'd want to do if you want to get from one side of the park to the other, if this all becomes one big park, because that would be insane if they group them all together.
Yeah, and what's also interesting is that they have that second park, quote unquote, or third park, quote unquote. It'll link both of those properties. It includes hotels, it looks like, retail experiences, and theme park experiences. So it's going to be a combination of a bunch of different stuff. There'll be a hotel in the middle of a park. That's kind of strange to think about.
It almost looks like another downtown Disney or...
Yeah, but there will be rides, it seems, as well. So it's strange. It's going to be interesting to see. But then there's also a property they're proposing, like across the street almost, and to like the right of the properties, at least on the map they're looking at, it's to the right. I don't know how it works. I don't know if this is like flipped or what direction we're actually facing, northwest. There's no compass rose here. It looks like that is going to be mainly theme park experiences and then some retail and dining experiences as well. I don't know if that's like one or the other, like we're going to either do this property or this property across the street, or if they're like we're proposing both, and whichever one gets
throwing
accepted.
Out options, or
yeah, if we're throwing them out and whichever one gets accepted, we'll do, or what. We'll see. But that's all we know right now. And all of this seems to be possibilities. It's just concepts. They're not anything actually solidified right now. So everyone that's going, oh, Disneyland's getting a third park, they're wrong. That's not what's happening right now. It's not.
No, they're kind of just proposing and kind of like, this
really,
is their
I think
time
they're trying
to do
to
it.
almost stimulate something so that they can get something moving here. So that they want really, I think in essence, to get the public officials in this area in Anaheim to allow them to start investing again and to start expanding, which I think has been an issue for them before.
California Adventure they had issues with, if I remember right, like trying to get that built.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is weird because you think, Anaheim realizes that they're a huge tourist area mainly because of Disneyland.
Yep.
And it's like, I don't understand why there's always such a big pushback from them. I feel like when they try to expand and stuff, but
so I think that's all really what this is. They're trying to say, I mean, the name of the project is Disneyland Forward. They're trying to go forward, to expand, to do new and interesting areas of the park and new experiences of the park. And they even include the quote, Disneyland will never be completed. It will continue to grow as long as there is imagination left in the world. That's
good old Walt Disney.
Right from Walt Disney, yeah. So this seems to me to be more of a push for the government to allow them to expand. And then once they are allowed to do so, once the proposed plans are okayed, then they'll start officializing things and telling us more what is all going to be going on at this park. Yeah,
Disney's probably saying this is like, if they're going to propose this, now is probably like one of the perfect times to do it, because the California economy is not doing too great, especially like, Anaheim is a huge tourist area.
And so they're going to go, hey, if you want the economy to do good, you let us do this right now.
Yeah,
let us get to work on this.
We can get people coming back here and like,
yeah, we can get the tourism dollars flowing in.
Yes, the beautiful tourism tax dollars.
Yeah, get them back in. Those dollars. I don't know what that was.
Those dollars aren't going to come in without your support, Anaheim.
Yeah. All right, a minute. Oh, I'm going to take a stretch break. Just kidding. All right, let's get back to it. Those dollars. I'm just kidding. All right, 3, 2, 1. So while Disney's having a struggle and a battle to get a park built, to get some expansion allowed, Tato Park in Ireland.
I made a joke to James, like, oh, it's like potato, like Ireland. He's like, yep, that's actually what it's based off of.
Yeah, that's what they named it off of.
So now,
Tato Park.
I'm glad I wasn't being
had
like
a battle
racist.
with their local officials building roller coasters. They have proposed 2 roller coasters, and it took 2 years and 4 months, I kid you not, for them to get this cleared and okayed with their local officials. They're now going to be getting a 748 meter long, which is, I believe, about 2,500 feet, suspended thrill coaster from Vekoma, which is awesome. Yeah, we're going to get to see, well, not in the States here, but over in Europe, you'll get to see some more Vekoma action. This looks pretty great. It's a clone of a ride that's a German ride. It's a Tripsdale. I can't remember the name of it.
Halt Überkopf.
That.
It means head over heels.
Head over heel. Yeah, it's a Tripsdale, and it's in Germany. And it's a clone of that, but it looks really cool. I haven't really ever heard of the original, so it's not like a big deal where it's like, oh, it's just another clone, whatever. I watched the POV of it. It looks great.
It looks like
the German ride. It looks really good.
It looks
really
like Dragonflyer, taller with inversions.
Yeah, Dragonflyer at Dollywood. with some inversions.
And it looks really good.
I mean, and Dragonflyer kick butt.
Yeah, I can't even imagine
ride.
that with inversions, and it was a lot longer of a ride, it looked like.
Yeah, I think it's double the height, double the length. That's going to be great. Also included in this roller coaster package is a family Boomerang from the company Vekoma as well. That's not nearly as important, but it's there, right? It's going to be there.
It's a credit.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what's going on there. This is a 15.5, I think that's euros project, 15.5 million project. It's not just a 15 project.
Not just like a cheeseburger worth of...
I keep $1. I'm used to saying that when I say a monetary amount, that it's in my mind. It's a 15 million euro deal, and that equivalent to about 18 million US dollars. So it's a big project at this park. The reason I want to include this as well is that the reasoning for this huge battle is because of, right? I mean, we hear that all the time. I think Dorney has to have sand on all their coasters due to noise restrictions. Busch Williamsburg a lot of times has to fight with Jamestown County.
Yeah, I remember that.
Noise, issues. In this park, for 2 years and 4 months, was in a battle because of noise. And there was actually a 60-page report by a lawyer of some sort that refused to allow this to open because of noise complaints. And the board actually stated that they thought it was fine. And after this 2-year debacle, they were like, yeah, it's not that big of a deal, actually. There's not enough noise disturbance in the area for that to actually matter. So, I don't know. It was strange. Strange to me that took 2 years to come to that conclusion. But, yeah, that was the whole thing. Was just noise. It wasn't
the thing also that I was reading in the article is not even just the noise of the coaster is part of it, but the screams was like the main.
Yeah, that was the noise. Yeah, the noise from the screamers.
They're like, yeah, it's like
ride,
it signifies horror and people needing help.
Yeah.
And
there was this whole let me try to find it. It was here. The scream is a primitive sound calling out danger and shouting for help. It is a particularly distinctive sound. Screaming has a much more visceral impact on the listener than any other sound. Like, they were trying to twist it in this way that's like...
Make it sound like roller coasters are these deadly contraptions that force people to scream.
Primitive sound, and if someone hears it, that's going to be the end. Like a resident nearby, if they hear people screaming on roller coasters,
they're just going to freak out.
Crazy and freak out.
They're going to go back into the caveman mode and just start thinking like, oh my God, I need to help
Murder
somebody.
Spree. I'm just kidding. Oh man, it's the Kingsman, that movie where they just go crazy and just start... That whole, you've seen that scene where they just start going.
I haven't seen Kingsman. You always ask if I've seen a movie, and the answer is usually no.
Yeah. Kingsman Secret Service.
I've heard of it.
There's a scene where there's a chip implanted in these people's phones that makes them go crazy, and they all just start murdering each other. It's like so someone that hears a scream, they're just gonna start doing all this. They were going crazy. They were it was crazy. That scene is easily one of the craziest scenes in a movie ever. And Family Guy actually did a spoof on it later on, and it was great. But to stay on point, that's what it kind of sounds like. It's ridiculous. This lawyer, this official thought was going to occur.
The way to fix that is just pull California and be
really,
you know what? Just no screaming on any roller coasters.
Yeah, well, that article was false, and we talked about it on the podcast.
Oh, okay. Well, I've been lied to then.
That article was really poorly...
it was a thing in Japan, so I'll go with that. It was a thing
in Japan, that's true. We did talk about it in Japan, but when it came to the California article, all that was stated was that they wanted to reduce the amount of COVID so that they were going to make people wear masks. And somehow that got misconstrued into this whole no more... me and Bob both read the article and we're like, where does it say no screaming is allowed by any restriction at all? And it's just not the case. But yeah, that article was false. So... That's not what was going on in California at all.
There goes all the memes that I saw on Instagram. I saw one of the i3
based on false information. We got to fact check them.
Yeah, we need more fact checking on the internet. That's what we need.
Me and Bob got to go out there and be the fact checkers for the coaster community world. Oh, no. All right. Well, that is about it for the top of the show. We're excited to go into the second half.
That we spent a lot of time thinking about.
Second half of the show is going to be filled with excitement as we're going to be doing the random roller coaster generator on RCDB that we do whenever we run out of ideas. It's always a lot of fun.
It is really
It's a lot of fun, and it's easily one of the best things that we do on the show, but it's what we do when we run out of ideas for the second half. And I'm sure Bob's going to be disappointed that he wasn't here for it because he loves doing it. But we're going to do that in the second half of the show. We're also going to be talking about a weekly poll, which which caused controversy on last week's show, but was actually kind of one-sided. We'll get to that in the second half of the show, though, right after this break.
All right.
You
can finally look back at the live chat now that I don't have to have the thing open.
You have to have RCDB up now.
I know. Alex said that's not Bob.
Nah, really? I'm just kidding.
Another fact check.
Is that Bob? Start talking about height requirements.
Everyone's asking what happened to Bob. I guess I'm just not wanted here.
Who is this kid?
I'll just start complaining a lot, talking about height requirements, like you said, and
Merlin's Mayhem,
Volcano. Here's my 4 points about why. So for RCDB, when you like pull up a coaster or whatever, how am I supposed to do?
I'll tell you the ID number on the URL. There's an ID number.
Where is that at?
Do you look at the URL?
Mine just is rcdb.com.
Yeah, then click on the whatever roller coaster you get, click on it.
Oh.
And then there's a
4-digit code or whatever, or a code.
It's a code. It's not always 4 digits.
Yeah.
It depends on that coaster. Some of them are like thousands. Some of them are in the hundreds. It's just a little code there. Yeah, that will.
I just put on a random one. I got Woodstock Express at Dorney Park. I just put in some random code.
All right, are you ready?
I am.
All right, 3, 2, 1. And we're back from that break. It's time for some random roller coasters. Let's get into it here with RCDB Random Roller Coasters Generator.
These are always good times.
Oh yeah, a lot of fun. All right, we're gonna start off. I'll start off. We got one that we all know and love, Banshee at Kings Island.
Oh my gosh, of course.
Yeah, that's the one I got, and that's a ride that me and Timmy actually both
That's the one thing we really disagree on.
Yeah, I love it. It's easily my favorite invert, and Timmy's like, yeah, it's all right.
It's good. I mean, for me, a lot of people don't have this problem, I don't think, but for me, like when I rode it, I get headaches when I ride it for some reason. I don't know what it is. It's like there's not even really a rattle or anything.
You can't be Bob then, because this is his favorite invert because it has those soft shell restraints.
Oh, I mean, I love it because it has best restraints.
Yeah, that exactly. Now you love it.
Yeah, that's right. Anything as long as it's not those horse collars. Can't ride those horse collars.
Yeah. Montu sucks because of the horse collars.
I'm excited to see what you think about that ride.
We're gonna be riding Montu soon. That's the ride that everyone always compares this to.
I hope it's not overhyped. That and Mako are 2 rides I'm very excited for you to get on, and I hope haven't been overhyped for you.
I don't know. I mean, I'm excited for both. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see for sure. All right, Timmy, pull up your random roller coaster.
I got Shark Trip at Liberty City Fun. ID code is, hold on, 9983.
9983. All right. I didn't give Banshees because I think everyone on this planet knows what ride that is. So
this is an interesting looking family kiddie like fair coaster.
What's it called?
Shark Trip.
Shark Trip.
At Liberty City Fun.
Yeah.
In Italy.
It does look interesting for sure. I mean, there's not much to it really, but
the trains on it kind of remind me of Magnum because of the squared off nose.
Yeah.
But it's a shark.
Yeah, I mean, it has an interesting design to it.
I don't know why there's an eagle.
Yeah, there's an eagle in the middle of it.
The eagle is not referenced in the name.
This is a shark trip. Maybe the sharks. Maybe
you're eating them.
You are the shark. You're going around and taking a trip. So you have a.
Interesting.
I think it's a seagull, not an eagle, by the way.
That would make more sense, wouldn't it?
I don't know.
It looks like an eagle.
It looks like an eagle, but it
looks like a bald eagle. In fact, if any,
seagulls look very similar, and this person could have just been a really poor artist that drew it. I think it's a seagull, and then there's a sea lion. Yeah, so you're actually. I mean, for a kiddie coaster, I'm not gonna lie, not poorly themed.
I mean, it looks like it looks like one of those like coasters you'll see at like a county fair.
It's a figure 8. It's FBF Visa, but yeah, it's definitely a interestingly themed attraction, to say the least. All right, let's get on with it. All right, I got Spinning Coaster. This is ID number 15434. It's at Long Fang Villa Video Resort in Fanggang, Dugong, Guangdong, China.
Try saying that 5 times fast.
Yeah. Fanggang, Guangdong. I can't. I'm going to start sounding really bad in a second. Yeah. Yeah, this is a. I don't know what. This is a. Oh,
Whoa!
So this is obviously
It's a spinning wild mouse.
It's spinning wild mouse, and it's a ripoff of like the SPF visas. It looks like. Actually, no. It's a ripoff of the what's the manufacturer of the Exterminator at Kennywood?
Oh God, I'm not. If I was Bob, I'd know that off the top of my head.
I know it looks like the vehicles on this look the exact same as those. Let me see. I can't remember. I know Bob always talks about them too, but it looks just like the. Let's see. Let me find it. Reverchin. I don't know if that's how you say it. Oh no, that's the make. Where's the manufacturer?
Where's the manufacturer then?
There's no manufacturer on here. Or actually,
he's got some weird looking trains.
I don't know. This is strange.
It's
I can't tell if Reverchin is the manufacturer or if that's the. All right, I think it is the actual. Yeah, it is the manufacturer. All right, so that's the manufacturer, and it looks the exact same. I mean, these are the exact same trains. So this is obviously, you know how we always talk about Chinese knockoffs. That's what this is for sure.
The make is Beijing. I'm not going to try Jihua Amusement Rides Manufacturing Co.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That might be it. I don't know. I don't want to even attempt that. I already did the name of the.
Yeah, you already got. You nailed the name of the city. I'm surprised. That got me.
All right. Well, that is our little story. The front car looks like a drunk children's character.
I was thinking someone high. He looks like he's
drunk, high. I mean, his eyes aren't red.
That's true.
He looks just like a wasted cartoon character to me. But you know. You win some, you lose some, right? I don't know.
All right. So for my next ride here, it's called Hunda Prutin. It's ID number 1332, and it's at the legendary Bon Bon Land. If you've heard of that,
yeah, I have.
It's quite a memeable park.
It is a memeable park for sure.
Is this the ride? I believe it actually. Hold on, I'm gonna look at the park to make sure, but I know that one of the rides at this park. I believe it's this one. The literal translation is dog fart.
Yeah, and we've actually, I think, possibly talked about this on the show before. On one of these random roller coaster generators, maybe. I don't know, but yes, this is one of the absolute most. Yeah,
the actual name of this ride.
Weird rides of all time.
The actual name of this ride translates literally to dog fart coaster. I can see it on the top of the station.
That is awesome. Oh man,
this park looks so funny. All the pictures I see of it, like James, go to RCDB, click on the park, and look at the fourth picture.
The fourth picture
of the cow. Like how is
wow? Yeah,
Denmark is crazy.
This park is weird. I know a lot of Denmark parks are weird. Yeah, this is definitely the top of the iceberg here. Just so you guys know, if you're driving or something, it's just a cow with some cleavage.
Yes,
and they're out. They're out. So I mean,
yes, and it's not like I don't know how to. It's
they
quite
are out.
odd.
They are out. Full frontal. Just out.
At a family amusement park.
I can't explain how out they are. That's how out they are. But yeah, that dog fart coaster. It's a Zaire attraction. It's a Force model. It's not too long. It's not too tall. It's a kiddie ride. But yeah, it's a funny translation. And one of the actual statues of the characters is a dog actually farting on the coaster, which is excellent.
That is amazing. If you scroll to the bottom of RCDB, it says Hundeprut is Danish for a dog fart in quotations or parentheses. Honestly,
yeah. Like this isn't a joke. I'm not kidding. This is a real ride at a real park.
There's actually a picture of a dog or statue of a dog farting on the coaster. This is amazing.
Yeah,
this is a bucket list.
It's a bucket list ride.
Yeah, the logo for this ride is amazing too. Just a dog farting.
So shocking, right?
Oh my God. My dad literally just texted me saying Disney Resort Anaheim expansion plan called Disneyland Forward. Even my dad's hearing the news.
Yeah, everyone's getting into it.
It's going to be one of those things you're going to see on Facebook for months then.
For sure. And it's gonna be very similar to what just happened with Pantheon. And the complete... what happens with these new rides that open up, and we completely forgot to talk about this in the news segment, so I'm glad that we talk about this right now. Pantheon was testing.
That's right, it was. Well, kind of.
It made it
moved
to the pole launch, to the swing launch, the second launch there, which is where this vertical spike is and the top hat will be. So it made it to that portion of the ride. It hasn't made it past that as far as we're aware. And people were just bombarding feeds with that. It was very similar to what's been going on with Velocicoaster for about, 6 months now. Same with Iron Quasi, where all we're seeing is testing footage of those two rides. And for a couple days there was Pantheon, and now it's back to Velocicoaster and Iron Quasi. But yeah, that tested. I thought I'd give a little plug in there for anybody that was interested, because I know we didn't talk about that in the news segment. I didn't think it was really worthy of it, but
yeah, it was just really short. It made it on the swing launch.
Eluded my mind as well, and now I'm thinking about it again, so we'll just talk about it really quickly right there in that plug. All right, so the next random roller coaster we got, let's see, is Medusa. This is the old coaster prior to what do they call it now? Is it Medusa Steel? What does they call it at Six Flags Mexico now? It has the barrel
Medusa
drop.
Steel Coaster.
Is that what it's called?
Wait, give me the ID number of the ride.
The ID number is 640. I cannot remember what they call the RMC down there now. What the heck? Medusa Steel Coaster. All right, I was right. I was like, that just seems like too generic of a name.
Then we realized it's Six Flags.
That's the correct name. Yeah, I was doubting my own abilities to think for a second, my own cognitive abilities to recall that name, but I got it. That was right. Yeah, Medusa Steel Coaster. This is the former attraction that was RMC'd to create that attraction.
The only defunct coaster from this park.
Yeah, it is, and it was quite a beast if you look at it. It reminds me a lot of, like Twister at Knoebels,
but bigger,
Mean
honestly.
Streak even. Like it's a large scale coaster. It takes up a big footprint, and it does a lot. It's a 3,000 foot ride, but I'm not necessarily talking about how much land it takes up. I'm talking about just the size of the thing. It's very tall.
Yeah,
it's very there's a lot of interacting and crossing. Yeah, it looks really, really.
It's a CCI.
Like an awesome ride.
Looked pretty good. I never really looked into this ride. Just remember
Me neither, to be honest. But it does look good. Most CCIs are pretty good. I liked pretty much everyone I've been on thus far. I know they've done like Boss, Boulder Dash, Legend, Raven. They have some really great rides. So I for sure would have thought this would be pretty good. I mean, I'm sure it had its patches of roughness, but
yeah,
it looked like a pretty substantial attraction. All right, what you got for us, Timmy?
I got Camel Coaster at Eneko Wonderland in Ina Gifu, Japan. It's ID number 1969.
That was a great year. I was waiting for something like that to come up where it could be a year. It's
It's colorful.
Sanyo Kango Company.
It looks like an arrow.
Oh yeah, it's definitely it's one of those knockoff Arrow, knockoff maybe Vekoma, because they had similar track type.
This came out in 1989.
Yeah, it did. It looks interesting.
Yeah, very colorful.
I'm confused where anything fun really happens on the ride, because the layout's pretty flat. Like if you look at a image of the ride, it's pretty much flat. Like there's no real like
I'm looking at it
or valleys. Or,
there's like
it's just a bunch of meandering around.
There's a spot looks like 2 airtime hills, and then like there's like 45 turnarounds,
helixes,
and yeah,
like a really tiny drop. Yeah, that's just.
That's pretty.
It's still open. Yeah, operating since 1989, so it's still open. That's something, right? It's at, you said, Eneko Wonderland, which is in Japan. I don't know what other coasters they have at this park.
I'm kind of interested now.
They have a Togo, and they also have another Togo.
Alrighty, so definitely a destination park for all enthusiasts. This is the park
to be when you're in Japan. This is it.
Yeah.
This is where to go. All right, let's figure out the next random roller coaster on our little adventure here. We got the River King Mine Train at Six Flags St. Louis. This is actually a ride that we talked about a few weeks back on the show, because for a while they had stand-up trains on this attraction. It was the first ever stand-up roller coaster in the world, actually. One of the first stand-up roller coasters in the world. But it was the first coaster to like implement stand-up trains that it wasn't originally made for, I believe. Because what they did was they took, I don't know if it was Togo stand-up trains or what, but they put them on this ride, on this Arrow mine train.
Wow, they really moved around. I'm looking at the relocations. It's been to three different parks.
Yeah, it has. It is ID number 125. If you know, you need to know. Wait, I don't know if it's moved around. So where are you seeing that at actually? Because it's only been at Six Flags St. Louis.
Wait, no, I was looking at the wrong thing.
Yeah, I was about to say.
I was on a different ID number. You said
I think
that
it's still operating at Six Flags St. Louis and it hasn't moved since. So I don't know where it's been moved around a lot.
What the heck?
It has had different names though. That's what I was saying. It's had Railblazer as a name, River King Runaway Mine Train, and then River King Mine Train. I thought that's what you were about to
I
complete the thought there, and then you said
I went to Six
like,
Flags St. Louis, scrolled down to defunct, and clicked on River King Mine Train, and there's like a whole history behind that too. I don't know what that's about.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a different ride, no doubt. That's has to be something
I think it was a dueling coaster. Or it was a side by side.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. And we talked about that as well when we talked about this a while back on the show. I think it was a dueling coaster for a tad bit. And yeah, it's moved around now to a bunch of different parks. But the main reason we talked about it on the show a couple weeks ago was that it had stand-up trains, which is really cool.
That's pretty interesting.
They were removed after a while, but they were put back and then removed yet again. So it's had quite a history for sure. Dueling coaster, stand-up trains, back to just a boring old mine train. But yeah, it's a very interesting ride. It has a very rich history.
Yeah, I got that from when I clicked on the wrong one and went through its history
and saw all different.
So for my next coaster, I got roller coaster. It's ID number 16892. And it's in Blue Pearl Island Park in Vietnam.
Oh, I thought for a second I thought we were talking about the Lagoon one.
Oh no, I think I'd take a Lagoon one over this one any day because this looks like very boring to me. The profiling on this looks so weird. This looks like
it's a Sao Con.
This looks like
that is the make of this.
Soak on these nuts.
Let's not revert to the Drunk Rider podcast. I'm just kidding. Can't be making dirty jokes like that. We already talked about the boobs earlier with the cow. We're floating on thin ice. Yeah, I don't know what this is. Definitely
this looks like I
original. I mean, look at the track type. It's really.
It looks like something I made in Roller Coaster Tycoon when I was like 6.
It does. It's a lot of.
The station starts like
downward helixes, like going downward.
The station starts like 20 feet in the air, like when you don't want to build the lift hill up all the way.
Exactly, and then it goes down these like 3 or 4 downward helixes into a weird layout. The trains are kind of weird and compact. I don't know. This is definitely strange, but yeah, it's interesting for sure. It's a family ride. It is not at all operational anymore. It only opened for 3 years. That's kind of strange. I don't know what the issues were, but yeah, the track type's really weird. It's really, really thick track, really like long, and it's protruding upward. It's strange. I don't know. Definitely different. It's not a knockoff. It's not an Asian knockoff like we're used to seeing.
No, it's definitely original. I'll give it that.
I'll give it that exactly. All right, the next RCDB random roller coaster to talk about, and this will probably cap it off for the day because we've definitely done quite a bit of attractions here. We have, Tobo Trunk. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. This is what is this country? Andorra?
What's the ID number?
It's 13054. That is the ID number. And it's interesting. It's an alpine coaster. It's slipping my mind what continent Andorra is on. This is a country, but is it Europe? It has to be the English name.
I mean, it's got English characters.
It's from the Latin root, at least. Right? Of English. Yeah, it's in Europe, right? It's right between France and Spain. Oh, of course, yeah. Exactly. Just completely slipped my mind. It's a very small country, but this is a 17,000-foot roller coaster. If I'm reading that correctly.
Lengthwise.
Yeah, lengthwise, of course. Yeah, that's what I meant in terms of length. And then uphill length is 5,000 feet. Downhill length is 11,000 feet.
It's a lot of track.
Mm-hmm. It looks Like a mountain coaster?
Yeah, I mean the pictures you can't really see. It's
I
all
don't know the layout. Yeah.
All the pictures are kind of out in the mountains, or the
It
layouts.
looks beautiful. If that's it, give it something there. I mean, it looks really beautiful.
All the trains are colored green. If that means anything to you.
Yeah, if you got a green, if that's your thing.
A green thing.
There you go. Yeah, it looks fun. It looks like a good old mountain coaster.
I'm a big fan of alpine coasters. They're
I love me a mountain coaster. They're great. So for sure, Tobo Trunk at Naterlandia in Andorra. All right. So that is about it for the random roller coaster piece of the show. We've traveled all around the world, talked about some exquisite rides. I'm trying to make that sound as excellent as possible. But now it's time to revert to the weekly poll, and we're going to be talking about when you go to a park, if you expect the lines to remain open until close. Now, seemingly an easy question, right? Pretty straightforward. Most people would say yes. And of course, not to my dismay, not to my surprise at all, most of the audience did say yes. I think we got, I'm going to check, but it was a large response of yes, and a very minute, small portion.
It's probably just people who were tapping through the stories and misclicked, you know?
Yeah, maybe. We got 41 people saying yes, that they expect the rides to remain open until the park closes, while 6 say no. Yeah, so.
Did some of the people say that said no drop their reasoning?
We did have some comments as to why they thought which way. And actually, one response was for no, which is good because that can give us a little bit of insight as to why some people.
Into the wrong mindset of
no. He said, for the most part, I would say yes. But I also think a park should have the right to close off extremely popular rides before closing. And if you listen to the show last week, that's exactly what I said. Somewhat, I said I think the park should keep the rides open until closing. However, if they need to close a ride either due to mechanical issues, maintenance issues, or because of its extreme popularity, give us a fair warning, right? Tell us. So I can plan my day around, this ride's going to be closing at 9:30 or 10 or 9. If let's just assume right now that the closing time is 10 for this imaginary hypothetical park. I think they should give us fair warning, Okay. And say, hey, we're going to be closing this ride at 9:30. Hey, we're going to be closing this ride at 9. Therefore, I can go, all right, I'm going to hit on this ride real quick. Get on this ride, excuse me. Hey, Rod, you're looking good.
I'm liking those curves.
Looking curvy. I can get on this ride before it closes and then get on whatever else I want to after that. That's what I would prefer.
See, I have an experience with something like this at Cedar Point when Steel Vengeance opened. I was there opening year, and
that's actually where this debate came from. Yeah, because they were announcing that they were gonna. Yeah, I think it's they say that they're whenever we feel like it, whenever we need closing our attractions, and Bob was like, well, that's warning. That's them telling me to do it possibly.
Exactly.
And he's would be. Would you rather them say 9:30 is the closing, not packed at all, to close at 9:30? And I'm like, well, they could adjust based on the popularity of the day, the popularity of the attraction, based on that. I went,
and I think they kept Steel Vengeances open. A 4-hour line, a 1:30 ride on Steel.
And that's what they typically do. And Bob, the impression and his experience, it seems that he doesn't actually believe that typically do keep all the rides open, continue to cycle. Now it's always been done at every park I've ever been to. So I don't know where he's coming from with that. Like at every park I've ever gone to, it's always you get in line until 10 and then you get on at whatever time they cycle you through. Like they don't just say, "Oh, it's 10 now, the ride's done. Get out of line."
I feel like they can be able to do that, but I feel like if they want to have
the right to do it, it's their park, sure. I think if they are going to respect their pass holders and their ticket holders and all their guests, that's kind of not.
Yeah, that's what I was going to go to. I think if they want to improve the guest experience, they want to keep those rides open. They don't want to just cut people off and be like, because when we went to Six Flags, for crying out loud, they closed the bathrooms 5 minutes early at the back of the park. Yeah. So it's like, I think that it's definitely something that they should.
And with the Cedar Point policy being in place, they can technically close it whenever they want, right? Like, Bob's like, well, they're not going to do that. But technically they have that right with them saying that, and they have the right whenever they want. And I'm not saying they don't. But again, like you said, and as I say, to improve the guest experience, to improve, and to not even just improve, but just to make it how it should be, I think. Just a standard guest experience, to have a generally okay day at the park. Keep the rides up until 10 unless there's something extreme, unless there's going to be a huge maintenance haul that night, unless that the popularity of this ride is too much and you're going to be there till 2 or 3 in the morning getting this ride, getting these people through this ride. Then you can, as so fitted,
maybe put a sign out front or something.
Exactly, and that's actually, we talked with Daniel when we went up to his house last week actually. That's what he said. Put a sign out front the day of, and anticipate what kind of lines you're going to see on certain rides, and then accordingly plan to close these rides at certain times and let your audience know, let your clientele know, so that they don't get upset and don't have this issue, and they can just go, all right, well, if Steel Vengeance is closing at 9, I'll go ride it at 8:45, get in line at 8:45, and then after that, whatever other rides are open, I'll get on.
Well, if it's 10. Steel Vengeance, it's probably you're going to be there until that.
Yeah, well, depending on, we're talking about 2018 Steel Vengeance. I don't know how the lines have gotten now, but I'm sure they're still somewhat long. But yeah, that's how I would like it to be done. I would rather there be a time than not a time. That's just all I
just give
about.
us
if they're going to do that.
Yeah,
I think technically speaking, in my most truthful opinion, I think it should be open till 10. But if we're going to account for certain dire circumstances where you need to close the ride early,
these are just like Cedar for teenage employees too. Like, I feel bad for some of those people having like if they're like, imagine like working at Cedar Point, like you just needed a job, but now you're here until 2 a.m. cycling enthusiasts through a roller coaster. Like, that kind of sucks. I guess it's what you signed up for, but it might not be what you expected. And
I mean, yeah, I'll be a ride op soon. I'll have to deal with something similar to that. I understand that. It's almost, you're taking that risk, you're taking that. And, I think it's fun. I mean, I don't think it's necessarily, it's not a bad job you're making.
Right.
And however long you're there, I'm sure they'll pay you overtime. You're getting overtime, you're getting those
I think actually in
benefactors.
Ohio, you don't get paid overtime.
I don't know.
Either
way, they're going to be getting paid
you're going to
salary.
they'll get paid something, but I'm sure that they'll
something
get
in return for their efforts. It's not like
you're right. It's not like they're just getting free labor now.
Exactly.
For Cedar
Park's
Fair.
closed, but you're still running the rides, But yeah, another response we got was, I pay for a 10 to 10 ticket. I expect the rides to be open until 10.
Fair.
I think that's how it works. I mean,
yeah, that's how it should work.
When you go to Cedar Point, you're paying a considerable amount of money, and you're getting some good rides, but you're paying for that time period at the park. Like, sure, you're paying for the quality of the park and you're paying for the rides and everything, but you're also paying for that time. That time should be what they list, right? It shouldn't be on the website 9 to 10 and then it's 9 to 9. Hey, all the rides are closed at 9. What the heck?
Now all you can do is just spend money in our park by shopping and eating.
Exactly. It's kind of a trap. So again, I'm not against it if you give us a forewarning, and if it's not all your rides either. If you're starting to do that, like if that's a policy you start implementing with all your attractions, then it's a big issue. We don't want to do it. Yeah, then it becomes an issue as well. But if you give a forewarning, if you let us know, I'm okay with it. That's where I stand on this matter. He did resort to the Bob said last week he resorted to the Six Flags America incident where we walked up at like 9:50 and the employee. Actually, I think I resorted to that. He was talking about King's Dominion possibly. I don't, as far as I'm aware, and maybe I'm wrong, but all the times that we've gone to King's Dominion, the park has been opening all the rides till 10. Or whenever the closing date is, right? Like we always stand outside the queue.
We always stand outside either Twisted Timbers or Grizzly usually.
And wait to get the last ride.
Sometimes actually I think it's happened to us on Grizzly, and then we just run over to Twisted Timbers. If I remember, I feel like Grizzly sometimes closes a little bit early, just because those employees suck and they don't really know what they're doing. I feel like
maybe
like no shots fired.
I have no
Grizzly
recollection
employees.
of that occurring, but it.
I remember some sad walks past the go-karts there.
Maybe it does. Maybe.
I know that Twisted Timbers is good with it, though. Twisted Timbers is definitely good with it.
And that's how I think it should be done. And I think with Grizzly, it's more of the employees are just. That's what I think. I also said at Six Flags America, when those employees do that, it's because they're kind of being lazy and they just want to close the ride early and don't want to have to deal with having people stay after the closing time. So they're like, all right, let's close 9:45.
Let's just get closed now, yeah.
That's kind of their ride decision. That's not like the park policy to do so. So now that's become park policy, I'm a little nervous how they're going to extend it, how they're going to use it, how that's going to be implemented. The last response we got is, yes, I believe that the ride should open until the park closes because it gives people more time to get on all the attractions before the designated closing time. Of course, that's kind of just reinstating what we've already said. So, yep, all right, that is about it for this week's weekly poll. Again, a substantial, overwhelming majority here saying that they expect the rides to be open until close. I've always thought that was the case. I was a little shocked, honestly, that Bob... well, not really, but I was in a way shocked. I wasn't shocked that Bob was arguing and debating me, but I was shocked that he'd never heard of, or it wasn't a expectation of him for the parks to stay open with all their rides until close. I don't know. That's just always been how it's done at every park I've been to, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's usually. I mean, it's something you usually expect at least. Everyone always goes for if you're an enthusiast.
What is the point of having closing times, right? The closing time. If you want to have closing times for the park, and that's when the park closes, then you also need to have ride closing times, right? And that's what I'm saying. If you're gonna have a park closing time, that doesn't therefore also mean the ride closing times. Then you need to have specific ride closing times. Like, it doesn't make sense if you just, well, the rides could close whenever. We don't know. It could happen whenever. We don't know. Like, it just doesn't
make sense. It's 1 p.m. No more Magnum today.
The park's closed, but the rides are still open. I'm just kidding. Yeah, so that's all I'm saying, and that's all that I think most people would want.
I think it's a general expectation from most people that the parks will stay open, or the rides will stay open until the park closes.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. And for those of you that haven't and don't expect that, I'm shocked, but I understand that you understand, like the response we got, that you want there to be some sort of there's a right, there's a right for a park to have. All right, I don't know what I'm talking about. What the heck? I know what I'm talking about, but I just not.
That was the longest ramble on.
Whoa. I'm kind of shocked, but I still understand that, like for example, the response we got is, yes, but the parks have the right to do so. I don't disagree with the fact that the parks have, in essence, that principle, that fundamental right to close whatever ride they want. Obviously, their park.
Yeah.
But I think if they truly want to improve and
keep guests coming back,
keep at bay the experience of the park, like that is the expectation I think most have. So they can do it, but
give us a
fair warning, and I'm not as upset, right? And that's all I'm asking for. So I'm not arguing that they have to. So the expectation is there, but I'm not arguing that they have to withhold that promise. And if they tell us that, I'm not saying that. But if they're going to implement a policy where they do, all I'm asking is that they tell us when. That's all I'm saying. So that's about it for this week's weekly poll. Next week's weekly poll is going to be, what is your bucket list coasters in the U.S.? In the U.S., not anywhere else, because we'll probably end up doing a non-U.S. list here soon as well, or poll, excuse me. So keep an eye out for that on our social media pages, Coaster Talk Podcast, on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can also answer this week's weekly poll by going to coastertalkpodcast.com/poll if you prefer doing it there and you don't have any social media. That'll be there as well. YouTube, check us out, Coaster Space Talk Space Podcast. It's 3 separate words. Or contact the show, coastertalkpodcast.com/contact with any comments, questions, or concerns. Also, James at coastertalkpodcast.com or Bob at coastertalkpodcast.com with the same. You can also go to the shop, coastertalkpodcast.com/shop, and buy any merchandise that you want, because we love the representation. It means a lot if we see any of our shirts out there at the parks. It's awesome. I know I have some of my own merchandise, and I love it. So
I'm planning on getting some of mine before the Florida trip.
Or anything, but the Coaster Talk merchandise is on fleek. And then, of course, go to the website, coastertalkpodcast.com, and we have a monthly update newsletter that you can sign up for if you want updates on when the episodes are being released. We'll also talk about, park trips that we might not mention on the show sometimes. That'll all be there. So thank you guys so much for listening. It's been a fun show. It's probably one of the shorter episodes we've done in a while, which is funny. It clocks in at about an hour, but still, that's that's been.
I feel like we got a lot of talking off still, a lot of information going.
Oh yeah,
through.
we did. It was a great substance there. It's just definitely. Typically, me and Bob are hitting like.
There's a lot of arguing.
130 now. So
I'm just not arguing as much as Bob.
Yeah, we don't have that aspect of it.
No, the only thing I disagree with is Banshee. So.
It'll be back next week. Yeah, the Banshee thing was the only time the turmoil got high. And that
it was getting hot and heated in here.
A little bit of a disagreement there. Not even close to what me and Bob get. But thank you guys so much for listening. And we'll see you guys all on next week's show with Bob. Oh, Bob's here. Bob said, if you don't name this episode a random full frontal cow, I'll be very disappointed. How did I not know he was here for this long?
I didn't notice either.
Wait, we only talked about that 15 minutes ago? I felt like we talked about that a while ago.
Yeah.
Of course, he got here right when I started arguing about. Of course.
Yeah, we just made it, Bob. I'm hearing you're ignoring me.
I wasn't looking at the chat because no one was talking in it until you got here, so. Hi, Bob. Get on the show. I'm just kidding. We can re-record real quick. This is where we normally start anyway. Yeah, we clocked in. That was actually the longest show I think me and you have ever done together. It's just short compared to me and Bob's episodes. Pam, you're late again, of course. Hi, Bob. He started talking like 15 minutes ago. Oh, there's a new Cognac Lake post. Oh, nothing. Never mind. They just they said they're experiencing technical difficulties with their internet, their email. Excuse me.
Oh no! Remember when Holiday World lost all of its you couldn't buy anything with a debit or credit card at the park.
Yeah. Oof, Bob, that is tough. Pam, say good night. Good night, Pam.
Good night, Pam.
Why'd you say that? Why did you?
I emphasized it.
Suppose it as almost like a question.
Good night, Pam.
Good night, Pam. Are you Pam?
Are you Pam or Cam? I can't tell.
Are you Pam, Cam, Jam, or Lamb?
Or Sam.
Unless you want to do a segment with Bob live from his CRZ in whatever state he's currently in.
Hi, Pam. Night, Pam.
No, Pam, you said goodnight. You can't keep talking.
Cam up until 4 a.m. That's
Are you back to that now?
Yeah. It's got a little bit better. I'm back up in Richmond. I'm trying to take this as trying to take advantage of the situation.
Advantage of that full frontal cow.
Yes. Full frontal cow.
Frontal cow. That was amazing.
Bonbon Land is such a weird park. I remember the Coaster fan when I used to watch him always about that, and the people he did a podcast with always joked about that.
I'm glad that this didn't happen during the podcast. Now my computer's being really slow.
Did everything save?
Oh yeah, everything's saved. We're good there.
Okay.
All right. Well, well. That's unfortunate, Bob. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna call it a night here. I should just want to stay up talking.
That's kind of what podcast is, anyways.
Cam, that was really poorly timed. We're talking about like a funeral and a wedding. Like, one more week till Florida. Oh man. Oh, all right. Well, yep, one more week, Cam. Yeah. I'm excited, but. Good night, Pam.
Good night, Pam.
Actually, go now. I think we're gonna call it a night too.
I need to drive all the way back to my own podcasting studio, 15 minutes away up the road.
Yeah, Bob, we're done with you. We're throwing you out. Your power is too much. I can feel it through the screen.
Through the monitor.
Too much power. I can't stand it. I have to end the live stream.
Yeah, Bob just showed up for the part where you were argumenting his points.
I know.
And the naked cow.
I was trying to be biased and go like, oh, he's this fucking idiot. Like, he said this. You said this. He referred to this. I was trying to remember everything he said. It would have been bad if I was like, Bob's such an idiot. What is he talking about with this next? And he would have been like in the comments, you get out of here. It could have been bad. All right. I was trying to stay somewhat equal-minded. All right. Well. Yeah, Bob, we're gonna end it because you're here.
Yep.
We dislike you greatly. Listen to me whine about driving. I think he was being sarcastic.
Was I whining? Oh.
I know.
Oh, yeah. No, I love driving. Yeah. I drove home from this guy's house at 2 a.m. after Dave and Buster's that one time.
Yeah. And the whole thing.
Oh, he heard the whole podcast. He was just in the chat for the last part.
Yeah, no, I know. Oh, I mean, yeah, I know that. When he started talking. The one time he was able to start communicating with us. Hey, I don't even know. I think we've done shows shorter than that. Not recently. Recently, we've been doing longer shows. Let's see what the last show was. Hour and 33. This was hour and 10. We've done some pretty long ones before, but yeah, the one before that was 2 hours and 27 minutes. One before that was 125. The one before that was 1 hour and 26. We do about an hour and a half, so yeah, we're just under that actually. All of our shows average about an hour and a half, it seems. And we need to hit Dave and Buster's again.
I agree.
It's almost like we were just there.
I know. I heard the legends. You were just there again. James actually has the door alarm up on his door. I ate all I liked those crunchy nerds or the soft nerds or whatever they were. Those were good.
I don't even know where my candy went from that. What about YouTube chatting and driving? Now that sounds like a plan. Oh man. All right. Well, this is actually a good time because I have actually some homework to do. I can knock that out now because it's not that late at all. Typically, me and Bob are done. I'm like, I gotta go to bed. I don't care. But I got a long time until that's typically like 2 a.m. when I'm like that. Until that kicks in, I'm gonna do some homework. All right. Good night, Bob. Love you so much.
Good night. Good night, Cam.
Good night, Cam. Good night, whoever. Cam is probably still, even though she said she left.
She probably fell asleep with the iPad on.
All right. And this Bob. I'll see Bob probably sooner than that. I'm used to Bob being. I don't have to say that, but I'll see Bob. See ya.